Welcome to the Own Your Life podcast, where our goal is to help bring hope, healing, and peace by sharing our experiences and inspiring you to own your life. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Own Your Life podcast. So today it's a little different. Matt is in Atlanta and I am still here in Charlotte. So we're recording on Zoom right now so that we can bring this out to you. And this episode today is going to have a little bit more of a serious tone than we're used to. We've just gone through quite an experience over the weekend. We did have to put down our dog Haus. So please forgive us if we're not as peppy as normal. And it also prompted us for what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to talk about, what are you taking for granted? And just to start off, I really feel like that cheesy saying, you never know what you have until it's gone. It's so true. It's so true because we can get so routine with things that we don't really realize what we have or what we're doing. It's just kind of become habit. Um, and I think we're all guilty of this. It's just easy to get stuck in this is just what we do. This is every day. This is our lives. And I think it's important that we do take the time and reflect on things, and that we also take the time and do the important things, like tell somebody you love them, or give somebody a hug, or buy, get somebody a gift or something, whatever it is. Like, I feel like don't waste your moments with people, with pets, with family and friends, um because they could be gone the next moment, and you just didn't plan for it. Obviously we didn't plan for this. You don't plan for things like this. And I feel like it can just be really, really eye-opening too, when things do happen, and then it's too late to go back and change. And for Haas, our dog, I don't feel like I took that much for granted. I feel like there were times that I wish that maybe I had spent more time with him, maybe cuddled with him longer, or maybe a night I didn't give him a good night kiss, and then I kind of was mad that I didn't the next day. And ever since he's been having issues with seizures, it's been 14 months that we found out that he's been having seizures. It could have been longer, we're not sure, just because we boarded him a lot. So we don't know what happened there. But anyways, so ever since we found that out, I've been trying to make more effort to be with him, to give him the extra love, extra treat, extra whatever, just so I feel like I've made him have a good life, and that he's well taken care of, and that I don't take him for granted, because I don't want to, because obviously now I really miss him. And um it's just kind of crazy. It's almost like it's never enough either. I was talking to Matt earlier on the phone. It's like, even if we got to snuggle with him one more time, we would still want to snuggle with him another time after that. And I feel like we're never, you're never going to be satisfied with something like that. You're always going to want one more. But I think it's taking the moment that we do have and making the most out of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many there's so many things that you think about, especially with thinking about Haas. I mean, and it can apply to a family member too. It's the little things that annoy you the most that are things that you'll miss the most when they're gone. Because Haas had a tendency to put his ball on Ashley's computer and knows her, while she's sitting in her chair, at their computer desk. And, just barking at stuff. And, you can kind of relate that to, anything, any family member. I mean, there's a lot of family members that'll annoy you with certain questions, or, do certain things to you that are going to be annoying to you. But when they're gone, those will be the things you miss the most. And, just reminiscent about Haus, and, he was my best buddy for a long time. I had him before Ashley and I were even together. And, he Ashley kicked him off the bed. He used to sleep with me every night. And he still slept with us sometimes. But, I think that, there's a lot of things that I'll miss the most about him. And I think it's just the small things that are going to add up to being the things that we take for granted the most. Because, like she said, there's always one more time that you want to do something with somebody. And I think that a kind of parallel that is in this is that, right now, let's say that your kids are 2 or 3 or 4 years old, and they love doing something with you. For instance, like, doing something in the pool or something like that, jumping off of a diving board, or, doing something where you have to participate in that activity, and they're going to ask you to do it one more time. It's going to seem annoying at the time, but, as they grow up, you're going to wish that you had that time back.
Mhm.
My son Cameron, obviously, which has been on here, he's 18 years old now, and 19 years old.
19.
19 years old. Sorry, I haven't slept in a lot in a couple days here. But he's 19 years old. He's going to be turning 20 this year, or next year, I should say. And um, he doesn't want to hang out with me as much as what he did when he was 10 or 11. He doesn't want to hang out as much because he's got his own life. He's doing his own thing with his own friends. Does that mean that he doesn't love me? No, it just means that he has his own life. And I think that as we go through this life and we journey through it, there's going to be a lot of things that we wish we had an opportunity to go back and do more of. And that's with grandparents, that's with parents, that's with kids, that's with everything. And I think that just reflecting on this time of loss is has been kind of a gut check moment for me of, am I doing everything right in my life with Ashley, with my family, with just in general? Am I taking this for granted? If I was not here tomorrow, would they know how much I love them all? And I think that that's the biggest thing is that, am I communicating that stuff every day? And what does it mean to them? Are they receiving it in the way that I want them to receive it as well? Because I think that has some bearing on it as well.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. That's actually, what I was going to say next is, because you travel a lot, Matt, I try to cherish every moment that we have together because, and I drive a lot too. I mean, you never know what could happen. I don't want to think something like that would ever happen to either of us, but because we're out there, we're traveling and being very active, and we're not home maybe as much as some other people that, our chance of something happening goes up. Like that's just life. And I don't want to hold a grudge against you or be upset with you when you leave, on a Sunday night and fly somewhere and then something happened and I never got to tell you one last time that I loved you, or gotten one last hug or had a good day, because instead I was mad at you the whole day. Like I don't I don't want that to happen. And that's not to say that we're not going to get annoyed with each other, because that's just how it works. But what?
It's my job to annoy you sometimes. I guess it's my job.
And vice versa, and you're welcome. But I just it's almost like we try to make the weekend special because that is the time that we have together. Sometimes some weeknights if you have a local account, but we try to make that special and at least do something special with each other, even if it's just sitting and watching a movie together and cuddling together. I think that that's important, because I don't ever want to think, oh man, I should have done this instead, and I shouldn't have held that grudge or whatever. And I just think it's important to really look at what is important to you, um what are you thinking about whatever the person is or situation is? Like, is it more important to be mad and to be right? Or is it more important to have a great relationship and to compromise? Um, I think that that's, a really important question to ask yourself, because if something were to happen to that person and you never got to say how you really felt, would you be okay with that?
Mm,
I think that that's, something definitely to think about. And I think even, as we're coming up on all these holidays, and we've already had some with Thanksgiving, that, um, are you spending time with the people you want to spend time with? And I know, there's a lot of travel restrictions and whatnot, but if you're doing a virtual event, is that something that you would rather or could do in person? And would you regret if you didn't ever get to see that person again? And maybe make that something that you do in person and not virtual, because we're not guaranteed time. Like we've said before, we are not guaranteed tomorrow. We all hope we get tomorrow, but it's not guaranteed to any of us. So what we need to do is make the most of the time that we do have, and make sure to cherish every moment that we have, whether it's with your kids, your pets, your family, your spouse. Maybe it's a job that you have. Like, take everything, not for granted, and think about what's really important to you.
yeah. I think that one thing I was thinking about today is the things that we take for granted, somebody else is praying for. And and I think that whenever you really look at stuff, it's just so funny how you can really do something repetitively every day, and it really doesn't mean anything to you until you don't do it. And that could be just routinely telling somebody you love them, but do you show them with the actions and the attitude with it behind it? And you can um, live 5 minutes down the road from somebody that that is means a lot to you, but you haven't seen them in a year or 6 months or longer. um, I think that we just take so many things for granted because some people live across the country or across the world from people, and they aren't going to have an opportunity to see them for a really long time. But, sometimes we live a half an hour and it seems like it's an inconvenience to travel that far to see somebody and to really, interact with them and give them a hug and really listen to what they have to say. I think that there's so much in that. And just reflecting back on Haus too. I mean, when I first got him, when I bought him, the guy said he's like, by the end of by the end of this, he's like, somebody would offer you millions of dollars for this dog and you wouldn't sell it. And at the first time, I thought, like, "Ah, you're crazy, man." And but by the end of it, I mean, he was right. I wouldn't trade him for anything in the whole world, and I miss him a lot. I miss my best buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. And I think that's also made me really think about the dog that we do have, Marley.
Mhm.
Not to neglect her in the process. Not to just, be so sad about Haas that we forget about Marley.
Yeah.
um and I think that, it's also taught me, maybe to make sure every moment, is even more special with her.
Mhm.
I mean, there are a few times that, I just, like I said before, I wish that maybe I'd given him more snuggles and kissed him, before I went to bed more times. A lot of times I was just tired, and I would just, like, say across the room, "Good night, buddy, love you," and I just, I wish I had hugged him and kissed him. And um it's something small, but, it means a lot to me, and I want to make sure that, I don't, at least don't end up doing that with Marley, and make sure that I don't neglect her in the process either. I don't know how dogs grieve. I've never had another dog around when I've put a dog down, so this is all new.
Mhm.
um so just a different process for us as we find our new normal. And yeah, it's gonna suck because hard things like that happen, and it's just in embracing it, and life goes on. So I think that like we were saying before, with opportunities and our current situations, obviously those are both opposite. Opportunities are things you haven't done yet, and then current situations is what you have. I feel like it's important for both of those, to not be taken for granted. You might hate your job right now or hate your routine, but like Matt said, somebody's begging for that. Somebody is wanting that so bad. And that's not to say stay in a job you hate, or, in a routine, or even a relationship that's, dangerous for you and damaging. Um, but if there's good in it, if there is at least maybe you're making the kind of money you want to make, at least for the time being, with all this COVID stuff, I feel like, be grateful for that you have a way to provide for your family. And it's not to say not to keep an eye open for opportunities, because I think that's also very important to do, and to get yourself out of a bad situation if you are. Now, in terms of relationships, that's something I would refer a therapist for you. And obviously, if it's something damaging, that you probably need to get out of that. But um, yeah, I just think it's, with opportunities that come along, don't take those for granted and think, oh, well, I'm just going to pass up on X, Y, and Z because it'll come again. Well, maybe it won't. Maybe it won't. Maybe a different opportunity might come up, but that one might not. So don't take that for granted, that, oh, I can just fall back on that whenever I want to. Well, maybe not. That might not be the case. So I think that can be dangerous, to just think that something's going to be there and it's not going to be there, in reality. So, this applies to everywhere in life, not just, people in relationships.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much truth in all of that. And I know that during this COVID situation, I mean, so many people have been out of work. So many people have been without money, without food, without everything. And that's, the one thing that we always think about is that how grateful we are, with where we are and where we're at in our life. And how we're able to provide for each other and provide love and support, and just be able to do everything that we need to do. And there's so many different things that people go without saying every day, and I think that because we get busy and things happen, and probably the worst of this is that really just appreciation of um, just everyday life. Because I think that for so many years I was so forward focused that I was never happy with where I was at, and I should have been more grateful for where I was at and what I had, because some of that stuff is gone, and it's not going to come back, and that's okay, because of where I'm at. But at the same point, like, I wish I wouldn't have rushed through that point in my life, because I think that we rush through points in our life to get to something else, and then we get to something else, and we're like, man, I really wish I could go back to that one thing or that one area and really focus in on that, and that may have been something different. Because I think that while opportunities are great, sometimes the best opportunity is in your hand, and you really didn't take full advantage of the opportunity you already had, and you're already searching for something else because you think it's something better, instead of taking what you was given to you and being grateful for it. And it doesn't mean that you pass up on opportunities. That's not what I'm saying. It just means that really assess where you're at with the current opportunity you have, and really understand that you have one of the best opportunities right now, and that's where you're at currently, to get better and to really understand what you're grateful for in this moment, because this moment won't last forever. And show the people that you love that you appreciate them, or the people that are helping you out currently.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, I just feel like we can't assume anything. Like we've said in multiple podcasts, that you can't assume something's always going to be there, because it might not be. And it's just important, I think, as we come up, on holiday time, that a lot of people do take time off, around now and maybe in a week or so, because we're close to Christmas. We're 11 days away. So, um, while we have this time, I think, something important to do would just be reflect on what you have, or things that you would like to have, um, and don't take for granted, your current situation. And to make sure that you tell those people, that you love them and that you really care about them and cherish every moment, even if, like Matt said, even if it bothers you, if it's something that annoys the crap out of you, it's, it's going to be something you miss. It was kind of funny when, I think it was this morning that Marley was barking outside. And usually if either of them were to bark, that I would be, I'd tell them to stop barking. Um, and I didn't want to. It's like her bark was like comforting to me. Like I was like wanting to hear it because I wanted to hear Haus barking with her. And it's just like the little things that annoy you, like you're gonna miss those. Because it's definitely a little quieter without him. Marley still makes a lot of noise, as you can see her walking around behind me. But yeah, it's just loving what you have, and cherishing what you have, because you never know. We never know when something's going to be taken away from us. And it's just important to hold those things dear, because time goes so fast. And I feel like as we get older, this is crazy, but as we get older, I feel like it just goes faster, which that's just not even fair.
Hey, you sound like our parents.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like when I was little, I mean, I had no concept of time. I didn't understand time. And when I was like very little, like I wish time away. I couldn't wait till I was an adult. I couldn't wait. I just want to like fast forward my childhood so I could be an adult. And now that I am, it's like, wow, I wished away so much time. And I took a lot of things for granted. And now that I know better, I don't want to do that moving forward, especially with very important relationships in my life, and even opportunities and current situations. I think that that's just really important to keep in mind.
Yeah, and I know that this is gonna be crazy to say, and I'm just gonna say it anyways because, I mean, this is a challenging time for us. I mean, because, we really lost a family member,
Yeah.
it's tough, and I know that, I lost my grandfather earlier this year too, so, I mean, we've had some loss, and, one thing that, I heard today, on a sermon I was listening to, and it said, "Don't ask God to move the mountain, learn how to climb."
That's good.
And I think that this is, for everybody. I mean, I feel like with the COVID season, with all the stuff going on in the world and, all the loss and all the stuff, is this is an opportunity for all of us to learn how to climb
Yeah.
and get better at climbing and understanding that, we can't stop. Not to saying that you can't reflect, not saying that you can't grieve, not saying that you can't do all the necessary steps, because it's not great to stuff emotions and do all that stuff, because I'm a great champion at stuffing emotions. And I just know that I need to learn how to climb better and go through a season that is, maybe just a straight up climb through on the steepest hill possible of this mountain. Because there's something on the other side of this that we're going to learn about, and something that's going to be great for us, and something that's going to be a blessing, because there's always going to be a blessing in every season. And we just don't know what that blessing is yet. And we just need to find that blessing and keep climbing up the mountain. And instead of asking God to move all of our problems and move our mountains for us, we need to sometimes own them and climb them.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's mic drop. That was great. Yeah, and I just think it's still important, like we've said before, is what you focus on expands.
Mhm.
So I feel like the more you really think about things and really cherish things, and treat it the best you can, and don't take it for granted, that that's going to happen more for you because you're focused on that. And if you're just focused on the go go go, and not really stopping to look around you, then you're going to miss it. And I think it's just been really important for us to make sure that we don't miss it, because you don't want to regret anything, and you don't want it to be too late. So yeah, Anyways, that's just all we wanted to share with you guys today. I'm sorry again, this was not the most peppiest, but we just wanted to make sure we got something out this week, and just a little bit of life lesson. Obviously, we just went through, a really hard thing that we're still grieving, and probably will be grieving for a while because he's a big part of our life. So thank you all for listening. We really appreciate you guys. Please subscribe, share, like, rate, and review us. And until next time, own your life, because your life is your responsibility. Thank you all for listening. If this added value to you, please click subscribe and rate and review us. You can also find us at Own Your Life Co. on Instagram and Facebook, and ownyourlifeco.com. And as always, own your life, because your life is your responsibility.